To the December 7th council meeting. If you'd please stand, Councilman Flores is going to lead us in the flag salute.
Good evening, everyone. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Our first presentation this evening is the 2021 Chino Sports Legend Youth Volunteer Award winner. This recognition is awarded to an individual who has dedicated a minimum of 5 years as a volunteer to a Chino-based youth sports group. Nominees are considered for their demonstrated leadership, teaching ability, dedication to youth, sportsmanship, and positive coaching. The 2021 Sports Legend Award winner is Yolanda Hogan of the Chino Youth Boxing Foundation. Yolanda, would you please come up? Would you like to bring up your family?
I could have my grandson, Bruce, and my son, Christopher.
Okay.
Those are my grandchildren.
And your husband? Where's Jesse?
With the other grandchild.
Oh, okay. Yolanda has served the community of Chino for over 30 years, with many of those years dedicated to the Chino Boxing Club. As a volunteer with the Chino Youth Boxing Foundation, she has served not only as a board member, but also as secretary, vice president, and president. Yolanda has helped plan and organize many fundraising events over the years for the club's boxers and their families, which included boxing events, banquets, potlucks, and summer barbecues. She knows the importance of teamwork and is always there from the beginning planning stages of their events to assisting with at the end of the night. Closest to her heart, however, is fundraising. Over the years, Yolanda has helped raise thousands of dollars for the organization. These funds have provided Thanksgiving turkeys for the boxers who participate in the annual Gobbler Gloves Boxing Showcase and toys for the boxers and siblings at their annual Christmas potluck toy giveaway. Not only is Yolanda active every year in raising funds, but she also donates her time to help with the distribution. Yolanda was stricken with some personal health issues a few years ago, but she's a true fighter and hasn't given up on her commitment to the Chino Youth Boxing Foundation. Her priority remains with the youth of this community and helping to keep them active in the neighborhood gym. Congratulations to Yolanda Hogan, the 2021 Chino Sports Legend Youth Volunteer Award recipient. And Yolanda, we have a plaque for you, and it reads, City of Chino Boxing Legends, Youth Volunteer Award presented to Yolanda Hogan in recognition of your many years of dedicated service to the Chino Youth of Chino, 2021. Now,
Now I could have the mic. I sure would.
Yes, now you can
And my
have the
son?
mic. And introduce your
My
family.
husband's out there. Jesse, you want to come up here and stop hiding? Like they say, he's behind the wife, always helping me with everything I needed. That's my husband, Jesse. And yes, and of course, Christopher Holguin, who attended here with Chino Valley Unified School District special programs. Thanks to him, we have other children that have grown here at Chino Valley Unified School District and have now become teachers and daughters-in-laws. Thanks to Chino Valley, they went ahead and became special education teachers. So I want to thank everyone and Chino for doing what they did for them. I wanted them to know. And that's little Bruce there, and that's Clark. Okay, and of course, my husband. I first of all want to thank definitely my boxers. I wouldn't do this without them. They've been there with me. They've been there doing the fundraising. They've been there doing sales. Their parents have worked in the kitchens we have here. We are blessed to be here in the city. Every time we walk in to the city of Chino, we have our boxing gym, and that feels so good. We feel so supported, so protected. And because of them, we have our gym hours. We have people like Ryan. We have people like Ted who are here in the audience. There's Ryan back there and Ted. You know, I want to thank both of them because we don't do this alone. We do this as a team. My city council has been outstanding. They have helped me. Eunice, I don't know what I would do without you. There are times that, should I go right or left? Oh, God, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to bother the mayor of the city. They go, no, don't call her, don't call her. But you know what? I know Eunice for over 25 years, and she has never given up and has always been there with my Chino Youth Boxing Foundation. Just about 2 years ago, I had Councilman Mark Lucio, who I want to mention right behind me, who we were so overloaded with toys, and he was out there, you know, with me. My son, James, who's also a teacher, brought so many toys to the Chino Youth Boxing Foundation, and those toys were being given out and unloaded by our councilman, who took Sunday off with his son for a few hours to give out those toys. So behind my leadership is my boxers, are my coaches, are the staff members, my board. I just adore my board. Without them, I want new board members. So I'm recruiting board members here today. Thank you all. God bless you. And thank you, Mayor Ulloa. You've been so good to me.
Thank you, Yoli.
Thank you.
Take your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All good. Go closer. Now, Yolanda's going to be the Grand Marshal in our Christmas parade this Saturday, so you'll see her in the very front.
And the wave. I know my wave. Been practicing.
Oh, my gosh.
I was going to go like this. But
Thank you all for coming out. Nice meeting. Okay, next we have the business of the month, December 2021. For the business of December, or for the month of December, we would like to recognize Rec Shop Training Facility Incorporated as our business of the month. Will the owners of the Rec Shop Training Facilities, Fani and Nibardo Marquez, along with their trainers, Lauren Pullen, Haley Wishner, Carla Valdez, Christy Polito, and Roseanne Morales, please join me up in front. Rec Shop Training Facility is a strength training and health enhancing facility offering expert guided group fitness classes, personal training, and powerlifting in Chino, California. Their goal is to help people who are looking to improve their well-being by creating effective fitness plans to make clients feel stronger and become healthier. Serving members of the city of Chino, as well as those in surrounding communities, Rec Shop Training Facility hosts multiple in-person events throughout the year called Strong Women. Within this program, they empower women through fitness by hosting a free workout boot camp. This past October, they partnered with Make Good Moves, which is a nonprofit organization that supports metastatic stage 4 breast cancer. The proceeds for this event were donated to the Fund Research for Breast Cancer. The owners, Estefania and Nibardo, also known as Fani and Valin, right?
Yes.
Got that one right? Were both raised in Chino. Since taking over Rec Shop Training Facility in January 2019, they continue to create an environment where people feel welcomed by their family-like culture and judgment-free atmosphere. With Fani's passion to help people become the best versions of themselves through fitness, and Valin's business and construction background, they have created a state-of-the-art facility with customized equipment and individualized workout programs in hopes that their members, trainers, and all those who are a part of Rec Shop family, fitness family thrive in the most positive and encouraging environment. Let's congratulate Rec Shop Training Facility for providing an amazing health and lifestyle experience and for giving back to our city and for being our December 2021 Business of the Month recipient. Please accept this plaque as a symbol of our appreciation. And it reads, congratulations to Rec Shop Training Facility Incorporated, December 2021, Chino Business of the Month. The City of Chino thanks you for being a part of the Chino community, and it's presented this day.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, of course. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. No, I just want to say thank you, obviously, to the community for allowing us to serve you and, help you in your fitness goals. Obviously, I want to say thank you to my husband. If it wasn't for his support, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you to Jason, which is actually the previous owner of Rec Shop, who believed in me and, put his business in my hand and allowed me to do. Jason, come on up. Yay! This is Jason Bray and his little one. Hi. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you to my trainers. We have a few trainers that are missing, but they're holding it down for us. Without you guys, this wouldn't have been possible either. And my family that's over there in the right corner, everybody over there, and our members that came to support us. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. It means so much, and thank you.
Now, tell them where you're located.
Oh, we are located down the street, Central and Schaefer by the AMPM, Farmer Boys. So whenever you guys like to join us, we are there. We do personal training and boot camp classes. And yeah.
Do you have age limits?
No age limits. All exercises are modified. Even if you're advanced, we make sure we push you a little harder. If you're a beginner, we modify exercises to make sure that you're doing it properly.
Do you have a program for older people?
Definitely, yes. We do have a program for older adults. If you guys would like to join us, we're there.
You do?
Yeah, all the classes are modified. So even if you want to take any of our 6 a.m., 9 a.m. classes, we're there, ready to help you.
Hey, listen, we got to go. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Quickly introduce who's here.
Okay, so this is Nibardo, a.k.a. Valin, my husband. This is Lauren Poland, one of my coaches, Haley Wishner, Carla Valdez, and Christy Pulido, and then Jason Ray.
Okay, let's get a picture. Yeah, gather around. Come on. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'll have to come and see you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, if you operate or know of a business in the community that you would like to nominate for a future Business of the Month, please go to the City of Chino website to make your nomination today. We appreciate all of our businesses and look forward to hearing from you. Okay, next, we have the Mayor's Home Beautification Award for November and December. For November, the winner is Charles and Brenda Wisdom of 13654 Geranium Street. If you'd please join me up here. And December is Donald and Ellen Robel. Sorry about that. Of 4372 Rainier Court. Are you guys here this evening?
Just me.
Just you?
Yeah.
Okay, and
Brent,
which?
my wife couldn't make.
Oh, and you're Charles?
Charles.
Okay, Charles. Well, Charles, we have, let's see, they usually show it on the screen. Beautiful picture of your home. That's for you. We also have a certificate, a beautification award. We have a pen and pencil set for you and your wife.
Oh my goodness.
We have lapel pins for you and your wife.
Okay.
We have lots of stuff. And then,
Bag or
of course,
something.
now we have the coveted yard sign. Oops. You didn't know you were going to get loaded down, did you?
Yes, I think they're There are many of my neighbors that are more deserving than me, but thank you very much.
You're welcome. Who keeps care of your property?
Well, it was a labor of love.
It was a labor of love. Well, you've done a beautiful job, and thank you so much for adding to our community.
Thank you for the award.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, Ari, do you want to now stay up here because we're going to get a picture. And then we have Donald. Stay here. We have Donald and Ellen Robel. Again, we have a picture of your beautiful home.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, isn't that gorgeous?
Wow, that's a good-looking house.
I vote for them.
You vote for them. And we have a certificate for you. Pen and pencil sets. Lapel pins. And again, the coveted yard sign. See, all your neighbors know you got the award. And who does your maintenance?
Me. He designed everything that you see, the stonework and everything. That's all him.
Well, I want to thank all of you, both of you, and tell your wife too. Thank you so much for adding to the beautification of our community.
Thank you.
And Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we have to get a picture. Thank you for coming tonight. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, now we have a very, very special presentation this evening. I'd like to call up Fire Chief Dave Williams, who's going to introduce the Chino Valley firefighters that's going to provide a demonstration for their AED, which has saved many lives. And I'm sure, Nathan, you're going to tell a little bit about it, right?
Yep. Yes, ma'am. So I'd just like, without further ado, introduce our staff to you. Ryan Porhasinian is going to walk us through a demonstration really quick. So I'm glad it's a full house tonight. Ryan.
Before you get started, for the sake of the audience and those listening, tell us the phenomenal success that you've had because of this program. Okay, all right.
Well, Mayor, if you don't mind, part of this presentation does include some success stories regarding our survival rates and those types of things. We'd love to share them with the community. So without further ado, first of all, good evening to you, Mayor and City Council, and to our community members. My name is Ryan Porhasinian. I'm a firefighter paramedic with the Chino Valley Fire District. Tonight, we're here to demonstrate an event that occurs approximately 350,000 times per year across our great nation. It's been identified as a local, state, national, and global epidemic, and it's known as sudden cardiac arrest. Simply defined, sudden cardiac arrest occurs when an individual's heart suddenly stops beating for a variety of reasons, rendering that individual clinically dead. But fear not, community, for there's hope. You see, there's a small window of time, approximately 10 minutes from the moment the person collapses, to where your efforts and our efforts as your fire department can mean the difference between survival and certain biological death. In this reenactment, a community member has identified a loved one who's unresponsive, meaning not awake, and not breathing or not breathing normally. He quickly instructs someone to call 911 and to grab an automated external defibrillator or an AED. While this is taking place, the community member begins hands-only CPR by pushing hard and fast in the center of the chest, ironically to the tune of staying alive. Please note, community, that we no longer ask you to perform mouth-to-mouth rescue breaths, thereby eliminating any fear of contracting a communicable disease. Hands-only CPR requires no formal training, and in fact, our 911 telecommunicators are capable of providing you on-the-spot, real-time CPR instructions, so please listen to every word that our dispatchers have to say. Once the AED arrives, it's imperative that you apply it immediately to the patient's bare chest. AEDs are designed to be used by fourth graders who have never received any formal training on their use. Regardless of the make, model, or brand of AED available to you, there's 4 key principles that apply to all AEDs across the market. 1, turn it on. 2, put it on. 3, keep it on. 4, follow the prompts. Please know that hands-only CPR and AED use is covered under California's Good Samaritan Act, leaving you free from any form of legal liability. Also, please don't be afraid that you're going to cause more harm to victims of sudden cardiac arrest. All joking aside, you cannot get more dead than dead, and I can assure you that if you do nothing, this person will remain dead. Now you'll see a pretty traditional transition or progression where our fire department arrives on scene and quickly takes over CPR from the community member. All Chino Valley Fire District personnel have trained extensively in high-performance CPR, which aims to deliver expertly performed CPR to every victim of cardiac arrest every time. And it's worth noting that our high-performance CPR program has recently received national attention. In this scenario, the patient has regained a pulse, meaning their heart has suddenly started to beat on its own again. You'll see now that our firefighters work towards preparing the patient for transport to a cardiac receiving hospital. You'll see that they place the patient on a mechanical CPR device called the AutoPulse, which helps us prepare for the possibility of the patient losing their pulse while en route to the hospital. While they're doing this, ladies and gentlemen, I want to assure you that the Chino Valley Fire District is committed to increasing survivability from sudden cardiac arrest. And in 2020, survival rates right here in the Chino Valley reached 50%, which is nearly double the national average survival rate. What that means to us, community, is that you are 2 times more likely to survive sudden cardiac arrest right here in our own backyard than you are in most places around the country. We believe that this great feat was achieved through rigorous training and through a commitment to providing excellent service to each and every one of you. But truth be told, it's not good enough. We can do better, community. And each and every day, we strive to deliver a better service to each of you. One prime example of that is our recent use of our own medic ambulances, which has seen us decrease our response time and decrease our transport times to local hospitals for our most critical patients. Yet sadly, community, the percentage of our community members that perform CPR prior to our arrival remains well below the national average. Community, dream with me for a moment and think of the possibility of more community members surviving sudden cardiac arrest if we can simply count on you to step up and help one another prior to our arrival. City Council, I urge and plead with you to partner with us in our efforts to increase survivability from sudden cardiac arrest. So I plan to stick around. I'm happy to answer any questions any of you may have. I'm excited to talk to any business owners here about our Heart Safe Chino Valley program, which donates free AEDs to local businesses within our community. I see the grappling hook. I know my time is up, but you're going to have to pull me off the stage because I have one last thing to tell you. I want to leave you with some facts and 2 questions to ponder. First, over 70% of all sudden cardiac arrests occur outside of the hospital, meaning it's happening in our homes, in the workplace, and when we're out and about in the community. It typically means it's somebody that you know, somebody that you care about, or somebody that you love. With that in mind, ask yourself the question, how prepared are you and your family to manage sudden cardiac arrest? And second, how prepared are we as a community to manage sudden cardiac arrest? Because the answer to both of those questions can literally mean the difference between life and death. Thank you for your time, and on behalf of the Chino Valley Fire District, it is an honor and privilege to serve each and every one of you. Thank you.
I ask asked the chief if they could please come and do a demonstration at this council meeting because I thought it was very, very important for all of us to understand the critical services that our fire department provides and also how important it is for all of us to understand the importance of stepping in when someone goes into cardiac arrest. The thought of losing a loved one and standing by and not doing anything is just unfathomable. So I urge you all, to take CPR classes, read up on it at least, know, your 911 number, obviously, and all businesses, the new business that we just honored this evening, contact the Chino Valley Fire Department and get one of those AEDs, because you never know. You never know. So, guys, thank you so much for being here this evening. It really means a lot. And hopefully, with our community's help, even more lives will be saved. Thank you. Okay. City Manager, do we have any additions or changes to our agenda?
Yes, Mayor, we have one addition, and with that, I'll turn it over to our city attorney, who will provide a little background.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager and Mayor and the council. The city learned of settlement offer on an existing litigation matter after the posting of the agenda. Because there is a limited time to address this particular issue and respond in this case, your next meeting is beyond the time, and so the suggestion is that this council can consider adding an additional closed session item for your consideration this evening. This would require, per the government code, that 4/5 of the council approve by a motion and a second the addition of the particular matter for consideration in closed session. If the council is interested, a motion and a second would be appropriate, and the name of the matter to be added to your closed session would be Conference with Legal Counsel, Existing Litigation, Edward C. Acosta v. City of Chino, and it's case number 5.18 CY 0914 DSF, and that could be added to the closed session agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, there's a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Lucio.
I'll second.
Second from Councilman Flores. We'll have a voice vote, please.
And before the vote, I understand Council Member Comstock will recuse herself from the vote, so that would mean a unanimous vote would be required.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Lucio,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Pocock,
Yes.
Mayor Ulloa.
Yes. Okay, so the item will be added to our closed session. And let the record note that Councilperson Comstock remained silent. Next, under public announcements, first I'd like to invite the public to attend our redistricting community workshop tomorrow at 7:30 in the evening. This will be offered both in person right here in the City Council chambers as well as a virtual event. The workshop will review our redistricting process and provide any needed assistance on our public mapping tools. For more information, please visit www.cityofchino.org/redistricting or call 909-334-3338. Also, on Saturday, December 11th, the city will hold its annual Chino Youth Christmas Parade and Fair. The parade will begin at 9 a.m. at the corner of Monte Vista and Riverside Drive. The parade will head east on Riverside Drive, turn south on Central Avenue, and finish at the corner of Central and Chino Avenues, right in front of the Chino Civic Center. Also beginning at 9 a.m. is our Christmas Fair. This will be occurring right in the heart of the Civic Center. Throughout the day, even more fun events are scheduled, including Santa's Village at the Chino Youth Museum, outstanding food and craft vendors, and family entertainment. For more information, please contact our Community Services Department at 909-334-3258. Additionally, 80 years ago today, on December 7th, 1941, the Imperial Japanese Navy attacked United States forces in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. As a community, Chino has and always will commit to supporting and honoring our veterans and active military personnel. Certainly, the events of that day were historical and monumental as it drove the United States into World War II. However, today, as we gather in these chambers to fulfill our due process and democratic rights, we are reminded and incredibly grateful for the tremendous sacrifices that made those rights possible, of which on Pearl Harbor Day also included 2,403 service members and civilians. To honor those who lost their lives on that fateful day, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you so much. And lastly, sadly, we will be adjourning tonight's meeting in memory of Don Crawford, who recently passed away. Born in Oklahoma in 1926, Don's family moved throughout the Midwest and eventually made it out to California, settling in Redlands. After graduating from Redlands High School, Don served 2 years in the United States Navy during World War II. After his time in the Navy, Don graduated from Redlands University and began a long and successful career with the Southern California Gas Company. On top of this, after moving to Chino, Don made it a point to involve himself with his church and community. This included serving in the American Red Cross, Boy Scouts, YMCA, the Chamber of Commerce, and Rotary Club. Don also served as a field representative of then California State Senator Ruben S. Ayala and hosted a local cable show for 10 years entitled The Chino Perspective with Don Crawford. Don loved the Chino community, and he will be deeply missed. And on behalf of our entire city council, I'll send our prayers to the Crawford family during this very difficult time. If you had the privilege of knowing Don, you knew someone who always had a smile, who loved the community, and was just a genuine gentleman. Just such a nice man. He was 90, I think 93 or 94 when he passed. So he'll be missed. Next on the agenda is public communication. This is the time and the place for council to handle matters that are not found elsewhere on the agenda. Our first written request to speak is actually from Mr. Dave Bustamante from Cavalry Chapel, Chino Valley. Dave's going to lead us in prayer, so I invite all those who would like to join us to please stand.
Well, Madam Mayor and members of the council and staff, I think as a community, it's safe to say that we're very thankful for your service, and that probably one of the best ways that we can come along and support you is through prayer. So let's take this time to lift you in prayer. Father, we know that our government leadership is appointed by you to do good for the community that they serve. And as they review so many different items and matters that affect this community, that affect families, adults, individuals, and even the businesses in our community, we lift them up and pray for wisdom and guidance from you as they go through these matters and make decisions, Father. May their hearts desire to do the very best that they can and to make the best decisions they can for this community. So we lift them to you and pray that you would just have your hand on them, bless their families. Again, we thank you so much for them, and we lift them to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dave. Okay. Our next written request to speak is, well, it's not one name. It's Parent Advocacy of Chino Valley. So whoever is, the blue shirts. The blue shirts are here.
I first have to say, I am completely blown away by what is going on in this room. This is beautiful. This is touching, and this is the way our community, should be, and should be everywhere.
Oh, well, thank you.
This is nice. Do we have like a timer that starts us?
You have approximately 5 minutes.
I'm used to a red light, green light, blue light. Okay. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sonia Shah. I am the president of a parent advocacy group here in Chino Valley, and standing with me are a few of our leadership VPs. Tonight, we come to you in hope to unite and work together during times such as this. We come to you in hopes to connect, to learn, and to grow together. We are concerned parents, community members, grandparents, school board members, politicians, you name it. We probably have a few that we represent. The current times we face never came with a rule book or a handbook on the how-tos. With that said, I think it's important we all come together to navigate these times as a unit. Our world clearly does not need any more division. I know you guys are actively involved, and tonight was definitely a demonstration in our beautiful community, and you're aware of some rising issues parents are currently facing at the Chino Valley Unified School District. It actually breaks our heart that we have to come to you today in hopes that you will help us, but it does need immediate attention. It's needed, or this can actually affect negatively our children's future, which is everyone's future, because they are our future. We are asking, and we will follow up with you on a date that you would hopefully agree upon to sit down and learn and brainstorm together. I think if we can do this, then we can truly lead the way and show the world how although we are all different, we all love people and care for them the same. We look forward to connecting with each of you, and we thank you so much for your time and we definitely value and appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you for being here this evening. Thank you very much. And our city clerk, you're welcome to contact her and that way get in touch with each one of us to meet with you. Thank you for being here. Those are the only two written requests to speak that I have this evening. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council on an item that's not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, then we will move on. First item is the consent calendar. Do any council members wish to have any items pulled? If not, then I would entertain a motion and a second. I have a motion from Councilperson Comstock, second from Councilman Pocock. And the consent calendar passes unanimously. Next is public hearings. Item number 13, PL 21-0026, Preserve Specific Plan Amendment. This item is to approve an amendment to the Preserve Specific Plan to add and correct some document language, update various roadway sections, reconfigure Main Street south of Market Street, update and clarify certain development standards, and clean up of various exhibits. I'd like to declare the public hearing open and ask for a staff report from our city planner, Mr. Warren Morleon. Warren?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Before I get started, I just want to mention that based on the scope of the proposed specific plan amendment, both Dennis Rawls, our transportation manager, and I will both be giving the presentation before you this evening, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. What happened? It won't scroll. Okay, go ahead, please. There you go. Okay. So I can do it? Okay. So the main reason for the specific plan amendment is a redesign of Main Street down in the preserve. As you can see on this slide, and I'll kind of guide you through it, Main Street currently has a master plan design of 2 3-acre parks on each end with a large landscape median in the middle. As development has occurred in the preserve, both staff and the applicant have learned a lot about the preserve and development, not only that's already existing, but future developments and future proposal. So we both agree that this design is not very functional in terms of getting people over to utilize the park surrounded by streets, as you can see around there, nor is it safe getting people from outside around the park through streets and to the park. So it's not very safe. And it's really not conducive of vehicle traffic. So trying to get from Pine Avenue, which is located up here, down to Chino Corona Road, you gotta go around all of these curves and bends and everything. So with that, we decided that the best option would to redesign Main Street with more of a straight linear design, a two-way roadway system with angled parking on each side, similar to the design that's approved for the commercial town center that's located here. I know you guys are familiar with the the commercial center that's currently being designed and constructed up at that location. So this graphic kind of gives you a blow-up of what I've been saying for clarity, for not only for you, but for the public. So on the left is the current master plan design, and then on the right is the proposed design. And this, again, just gives you a blow-up of that location. And then this graphic shows you a segment of that roadway to kind of give you a better illustration of it. And this is between Market and Academy. As you can see, it's that Main Street feel in design with angled parking. Now, as part of the redesign, staff has worked with the applicant to relocate that park acreage to other locations within the specific plan. We really didn't want to lose it anywhere. So with that, this graphic illustrates areas that it's getting relocated to. The first one, A, that's a future park, an 8-acre park, which is going to be enlarged by 1.75 acres to a 9.7 acre park. And that's at the southeast corner of Market and Main Street. This is Main Street here for everybody looking at the graphic. The second location is taking some of that acreage, 3 acres, and moving it to the southwest corner of Legacy Park Street and Main Street. Oh, the third location is adding on to a proposed future park down in this location, the southeast corner, East Preserve Loop and Main Street, adding 4.5 acres to this park. And then the last one is adding or implementing a small pocket park, urban pocket park in this location here. And so with that, it is important to note that we're not losing any park acreage. As a matter of fact, based on the amount being relocated, 8.24 acres, and the amount being provided, we're actually, in terms of park acreage, gaining almost an acre, just about an acre in the overall park, relocation. In addition, the new design of Main Street and the specific plan amendment itself also allows for the city to help facilitate the location of the second K-8 school, and that will be located here, Market Street and East Preserve Loop. And the blue indicates where that school will be. And it's currently, as you know, currently being done by the school district. And plans are being designed and that sort of thing. So that's the Main Street changes. At this point, I want to give it to Dennis, and he's going to go through some of the transportation changes and go through those with you.
Thank you, Warren. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. As part of the Preserve Specific Plan amendment changes, one of the things we took the opportunity of the amendment to do is to really look at the transportation infrastructure that was originally conceived and really reassess it to make sure that we're providing the facilities that the Preserve was envisioned to have. One of the big things that has occurred in the 20 years since its original inception is that the transit lane that was originally conceived was meant to be a dedicated piece of pavement along several of the streets inside the Preserve, along Bickmore, the Loop Roads, and Legacy, creating a loop that was envisioned to serve the future residents of the Preserve by providing transit. Now, as we've moved forward and technology has improved, the need to provide dedicated roadway no longer exists. Technology can now allow a bus to communicate directly with a traffic signal, letting it know whether or not it's behind schedule. And sending that information to the traffic signal can alter how the traffic signal operates to keep that bus on time, thus providing the high priority transit corridor that's being proposed as part of this specific plan amendment. So rather than provide precious dedicated roadway for a future bus lane, what this specific plan amendment does in several street segments is removes that and reclassifies that from a transit lane to a high priority transit corridor where that technology is envisioned to be used to keep those buses on time. And by doing so, allows us on the Loop Road, for instance, to move that median, recenter it on the roadway, and rededicate some of the street and give it to bicyclists, specifically a Class 2 dedicated bike lane that would be buffered from vehicle traffic. So by doing that, we're able to provide a dedicated facility for bicyclists now and provide a separate and safe mode of transportation for those who wish to travel at a higher rate of speed on bicycle throughout the preserve. In doing that, that allows us to reclassify the shared use paths along these corridors and rededicate them solely for pedestrian use. This is envisioned to be for families who are with their smaller children on their tricycles or people who are moving at a slower speed. So that the width won't change at all. The 10 feet, the 13-foot sidewalks and shared use paths that are out there today are envisioned to remain, just rather than them being dedicated as shared use paths for bicyclists and pedestrians. We are separating those uses out and providing separate facilities for each use, while still maintaining all of the lanes of traffic that was originally envisioned as part of this preserve-specific plan. So when we're done, a redesigned street segment would look similar to this, where the sidewalk still remains the sidewalk, nice and wide, capable of serving pedestrians of various abilities, whether they're jogging, running, or just taking a leisurely stroll, or whether they're traveling with their family throughout the preserve. At the same time, providing a separated 10 feet of bike lane with including a 6-foot lane, dedicated lane and 4-foot buffer in this case, while still maintaining a travel lane next to them, providing a safe environment for the bicyclists to use. In doing this, we create a more complete street, and staff has been working with some of our local bike advocates recently, and actually reached out to them concerning this, and and in fact, you actually got a letter tonight in support of this, stating that they actually prefer traveling with the flow of traffic rather than with pedestrians when they're traveling at higher speeds, as pedestrians tend to be unpredictable and can often cause injury. So by doing this, we also promote active transportation and a healthier Chino. Now with this change, what we end up doing is kind of repurposing how the bicycle facilities throughout the preserve are envisioned to work. So what you see before you is sort of what is envisioned to eventually occur. The blue being the Class 1 or off-street shared use paths that were previously existing. Those will remain along Pine Avenue, Hagman Avenue, and Kimball Avenue, and the eastern edge of Euclid Avenue around the preserve. Those wide sidewalks will still remain a dedicated facility for bicyclists to use, mostly because there wasn't additional room on the roadway to comfortably fit a bicyclist. Nevertheless, those will remain, as well as the community paseos, the trails along, for instance, the Edison corridor that kind of travels diagonally through the northern portion. The on-street Class 2 separated bike lanes, buffered bike lanes, are shown in red. And then to round it out, in some of the more downtown, Main Street, for instance, and local streets inside communities, those will be our lovely Class 3 bike lanes that we've talked about before with those sharrows. So what we end up with is a good mix of various facilities, all intended for all users of all abilities and all ability levels to travel throughout the preserve in any means that they feel comfortable doing. As I stated, we did see, during the Planning Commission meeting, we did receive after the deadline some comments from Mr. Barr concerning this change, specifically the shared use paths, and how those impacts might negatively impact the flow of traffic and the safety of how those users would use those facilities. Staff has looked very carefully at how this was all going to interact and feel that we've addressed all of those comments. And I know tonight later this evening, another letter was sent in, and while I haven't had a full chance to digest everything that was stated, a quick perusal suggests that most of those concerns remain his concerns, and as I stated, we feel very comfortable that what we're providing here is safe and effective for all the users of the preserve, both now and moving forward. But with that, I'll hand it back to Warren.
Yeah, and then while most of the significant changes have been traffic-related, there are some cleanup items and some minor amendments to the development standards that both the applicant and city have identified that need to be updated. So these changes include such things as modifications to the residential development standards in Table 3, of your document. Minor changes to other tables to omit duplicate information and update footnotes and acreages. Revising the garage placement provisions to remove those and allow those to be regulated through our design guidelines, which we have more provisions outlined in there, so it makes sense to go through our design guidelines for the preserve. Cleanup of various exhibits, and clarification of language throughout the document. On November 15th, the Planning Commission reviewed the specific plan amendment and recommended approval to the City Council by a 7-0 vote. The environmental for the amendment is covered through the existing specific plan EIR, as no land use changes are occurring. There's no increase in density or any units with these changes proposed, and none of the changes would result in creating any new significant environmental impacts. A public notice was put in the Chino Champion on November 27th. As Dennis said, we did receive one letter this evening for this meeting by Mr. Stubby Bars. He's addressed that. And then with that, in conclusion, staff recommends that the council approve the introduction of the ordinance and adopt PL 21-0026, the Preserve Specific Plan Amendment. That's before you this evening. That concludes my presentation. Dennis and I are here to answer questions. We do have a couple staff members to help out if necessary. We also, I see we have the applicant here this evening, so we're here to answer your questions. That concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Warren. Do any council members have questions? Chris? No? Mark? No? Karen?
I have some questions. Dennis, Warren, thank you. Good job with your staff reports tonight. Before the meeting, I read through the letter from Gary McGuire from Hayes Corp and some information from Mr. Barr. And I really do understand why, what Mr. McGuire is talking about, wanting bicyclists off of shared use paths. I frequently walk at Ayala Park, and some of the points that he makes are valid, and I think probably brought this to the forefront. But is that the real issue for? I guess I don't really understand if we're doing away with the transportation loop, which I support, and I really do understand that component of it. Why can't we maintain some of the width of the sidewalk? Because one of the things I see down here is when we develop that commercial core, and with the density that's going to be in this area, this is going to be one of our heaviest walked areas. I mean, the preserve already is because of the density, and we look at that sidewalk that is now going to be reduced to 6 feet, and then I don't know if this is accurate, but there is some language here from Mr. Barr that it's not as not as connected because of some of the way it's being constructed. I do have concerns because 6 feet sidewalk sounds great till you get all these residents down here are going to be using it, and it's really not going to be, it's not going to feel that big, once we construct it. So can we talk about why we can't get, maintain some of that sidewalk within there with this?
I apologize if that wasn't clear. There is no intention of reducing any of what was being proposed as the shared use paths. When they're converted to sidewalks, all of those widths are intended to remain the same.
Okay.
So the 13-foot shared use path, for example, along the north side of Bickmore that transfers to the south side, that's all intended to remain. It just, rather than it be called a shared use path, it's just going to be a wide sidewalk at that same width. So there's only one exception to that. At Legacy Park, inside the loop, between the loop roads, there was some minor modifications, and those modifications really were to make Legacy Park consistent with the outside of the loop. So that was really the only time we ever really played with the sidewalk widths. And even then, the sidewalks are still 10 feet wide where the shared use path was previously located. So yeah, where shared use paths are where the transit lane is being removed and reclassified and Class 2 bike lanes are being placed, those sidewalk widths are not changing.
Thank you, Dennis. I guess my other question is, I know we made this decision as a staff, and I think it's a good recommendation from your perspective. Do we do any outreach to people in the preserve? And this is an area where sometimes I think our residents feel like, I mean, we go to like the office hours or different things. I wasn't able to attend the lost office hours. Was this presented to them at office hours? Was it presented to anybody down there who presently lives there and has, we have some people who are down there who are pretty vocal and want to be influential to this, to how this is building, to reach out to anybody down there? Because Mr. McGuire lives over on Hayes, so did we talk to anybody that's living now in the preserve or anything like that?
And in terms of the specific plan amendment itself, not only the traffic related, but just in total? No, ma'am, we didn't. We didn't reach out to any of the residents. Normally, we don't with a specific plan amendment, the process. But because I should step back. We didn't think that the changes were significant at this point in terms of what we're doing. It's cleanup. I know that Main Street seems like it's a lot, but essentially we're just modifying that location, moving some parks around in that location. And the good news too is in the future, if residents want to get involved with the park layout and designs, those haven't been completed. These are just conceptual location revisions. There's still designs of parks that need to be done. We definitely will take it to the next office hours in the future that this is happening and what we're doing in terms of the specific plan down there. And if the council wishes, we will definitely do it in the future now that we're starting to get residents down there for things like this.
Yeah, I think some of the changes you've made, some of that our staff is recommending we make are, can we just go back a couple slides? One more, another. One more. Keep going. No, now the other way, yeah. It just, to me, taking the parks off each side, and I think those are some pretty, we're basically moving those parks to different locations, and it's going to change the feel of that area, of that Paseo area down there, where it was more of a gathering place and a walking place. And I think the one benefit is we will get hopefully some additional parking there, because parking is going to be at a premium with the way you've done. The staff is suggesting the diagonal parking, which I think is always going to be welcome down. In fact, you can probably bet that they won't really be open that often. But I do think there's some significant design changes in how that community is going to feel down there. And for me, on the last few staff reports, it comes back to me just, hey, are we asking people, that are, presently living there, going, or in the immediate area, how they feel about it? So those are my comments, Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Pocock, any comments?
Yep. Thank you. Could you go back to the latter part, the net result? Keep going. More. That one. Is there any retrofitting to be done at any of these sites that are already built in? Like on the north half of the loop, there's some of the homes are already built, and I'm sure those roads are already in there. Did I misunderstand, or did I miss something? But
The only significant change we might have to do is restripe some roads that are existing today to add the Class 2 bike lane on some of the routes that are being proposed to be changed. The sidewalk facilities, the shared use paths that are built today would remain as they are built today.
okay. And then will be any change to what we have designed for Rancho Miramonte as far as street widths or anything like that?
Yeah, correct. With the exception of that segment of Legacy Park I spoke about earlier, none of the other street segments, right-of-ways, or curb-to-curb widths are being proposed to be changed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can we go back to the very first slide that shows how it was originally planned and how it's, that one? Nope. That one, nope. Yeah, okay, that one. I remember some time ago when Lewis Operating Corp didn't increase density, but flipped things around a bit and changed some of the neighborhoods for various reasons. And I remember getting some pretty strong objections to people who already lived there who thought their next door neighbors were going to be a similar density, but then it changed. And the questions to me were, why weren't we told that this is changing? Because we bought our home expecting, you know, kind of a mirror image, and now all of a sudden it's going to be different. So I kind of echo the concerns of Councilmember Comstock, that in making these changes, you are going to affect what people think they're going to live next door to if homes are already built. Now, if they're not already built, then it's kind of a moot point because nobody's there. But it looks like that northern section does already obviously have homes there. And I'm wondering if there is going to be any kind of objection by those people that they're either not going to have a park or they're going to have a park, or a street that they thought would look one way is now going to look another way.
Yeah, Mayor, just for clarification, so the loop itself, East Preserve Loop, all the way around to West Preserve, that core area has not been developed. The design in the let me use my little click here. This here area here, that's the commercial center under construction or just in the very beginning stages.
Okay.
This here is also part of that development. Hasn't even started really construction yet, so none of this area is essentially developed.
What about?
This is the homecoming area over here, outside of the loop, but the loop itself has no development down here south of Pine.
Okay. So we wouldn't be impacting anybody that lives there right now?
No adjacent neighbors, Mayor, but I understand what the council member had mentioned, and just globally, it's something for staff to look out for, and I agree. Sometimes we look at it, you know, by processing applications all the time, and this is vacant. It's not going to affect anybody adjacent to it, but globally, as residents move into the preserve, now we're starting to get to that stage where maybe it is a good idea to start thinking, oh, if we do these specific plan amendments, because, you know, this is, I can't remember what number this is, but it's several down the road of specific plan amendments, and we've never done it in the past where we notice the whole community.
Yeah.
Typically, you do, you know, a certain 300-foot radius for certain projects. You never really go outside, but it's a great comment, and we should really look at as a staff of what we do in the future with specific plan amendments that are comprehensive like this.
I think we should.
Yeah.
I think, you know, you have the park house down there, which a lot of people go to, and of course the community center. And I think it would be a good idea to have these plans out there so that the public at least knows that what they thought was going to be built isn't, or there's going to be a modification. I think we owe it to our residents to do that. Then another question I had is, do you remember some time ago that there was new bicycle type striping that was being considered? I think they've done it in Rancho Cucamonga or Upland. They've done, you know, where you've got the green hashed lines and things like that.
Yes.
Are we going to do that special striping on these special bike lanes?
In some cases, yes. In fact, in some of the locations where some of our shared use paths have signalized intersections, you'll actually start to see what I'm calling a hybrid crosswalk, half for bike, half for pedestrian. And actually, there's one in existence already at Hagman and Legacy Park, really in the southern east quadrant. That was sort of the first try. There's one that's almost completely finished at Pine and Meadow House that just got striped actually, I think last week. And what you'll also see with, for example, Central Avenue with the slurry seal that we just did there, the Class 2 bike lanes that are along Central Avenue, where that bike lane starts to conflict with a right turn pocket, you're going to see that broken line, and in between that broken line, you're going to start seeing those green patches. I'm also aware that Caltrans is doing the same thing on Euclid, north of Chino Avenue. They've got a project coming in soon to do the same sort of thing. So yeah, that's becoming more the industry standard. A lot of, some of the more, like say, ocean-type cities will have the entire bike lane painted. That becomes very costly and hard to maintain over time. So what a lot of agencies are moving towards is really painting green where there's conflict areas, where the bike path and the vehicle path cross, such as at an intersection, where a right turn pocket opens up, or like in our case, where some of our shared use paths have signalized crosswalks.
So I really like that marking, and I do think our preserve area seems to be an area where people are a lot more mobile. They walk a lot more, they bike a lot more. I think we're going to see that a lot down in the preserve area. So I'm glad we're going to do that because I think it really helps for safety.
Can I add something too, Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
You know, I looked at both emails that were sent, one by obviously Mr. Barr and the other one sent by another individual that is an avid bike rider, him and his wife. And I do know that the people that bike, 50, 60 miles on the roadways, those folks that are doing 10 or 15 miles an hour generally stay on the road. So I'm glad that you guys are going to stripe the roads and give them designated bike lanes. But I really I'm kind of split on whether or not to do it in the shared walkways, only because, in College Park where I live, I see a lot of families, and that's where they allow their kids to go off and ride their bikes, so that they don't have to worry about them riding them in the street. And I'd really hate to take that away from a community like the Preserve, where, maybe it's not designed for that 15 mile per hour bicyclist, but it is designed for that family that's walking and allowing their kids to be off ahead of them. So, I mean, I would hate to eliminate bikes completely off that lane. I do want to give an avenue to the avid bikers on the roadways, but at the same time, I'd like to leave that a shared path for families that are there with their families walking.
I think
or
you
riding
said it
bikes.
is going to be, right? For children with their parents and stuff?
Yeah, just because we're reclassifying a shared use path as a sidewalk, it doesn't mean a family with, taking their kids out for, an end of the day stroll or something like that, or a weekend stroll. It doesn't mean that can't happen. In fact, we really took a look and make sure that was not going to be an issue. So, and even talked with the chief right before I come up here, just to make sure that when I say that if, we had people skateboarding or rollerblading down the sidewalk, that wasn't going to be an issue just because we're changing it from a shared use path. One of the main things that this change really does is affect how we treat the crossings at signalized intersections. The intersection I spoke about, like at Pine and Meadow House, we're having to do that kind of treatment because the shared use path exists and because of how we're trying to get bicyclists across that. By separating the bicyclists and creating a separate bicycle facility for those who travel quicker along those same paths, they're now able to be treated more like a vehicle and less like a pedestrian. So by separating that, we're not really trying to discourage people from continuing to use the wide sidewalks for however they plan to use them. Really, what we're really trying to do is make sure that the people who prefer to travel faster and have an avenue to do that in a dedicated facility capable of handling them and to be treated like the vehicle they are more like than a pedestrian.
So Mayor Dennis had shared some of these concepts with me just in general conversation, which I think the ideas have merit. And I've already expressed to Dennis and some of the staff that I like these concepts. I go back to, this is a heavily anticipated development area in the preserve. I mean, people have been talking about this shopping core and some of these areas coming in for many years, as we know. And we get an opportunity to do this, one and done. The maximum, the way, not just we want to see it as a community, but also more specifically our residents and the neighbors are going to be there. I see this as being a focal point. My biggest concern is what the mayor has already talked about. Even though we don't specifically have residents right there, we have people, adjacent to here that can be using this and explain this. Is there an urgency to us making this decision tonight, or can we still go out there and still do some of this outreach to the residents and get out there and ask them, hey, here's some of the things we're considering. Here's what it will bring. Here's some of the things we're going to give up. Here's some of the things it's going to bring. Can we do that still? Can we still go out there and talk to people, particularly in our next office hours or do we have to do it tonight? Can we go out there and still talk to them?
That's a hard question to answer. I know that one particular segment in the specific plan we would like to finish up and get completed, and that, which segment's that? The one on where in front of So one of the, I'm sorry, he's the expert in the roadway section, but one of the sections we'd like to get done so we can have Kimball finished and designed to move forward with getting that completed on the north side of In and Out. So aside from that, there's nothing that's immediate other than we're trying to get stuff taken care of and doing the city business. The applicant may feel differently, but in terms of staff, we're here today, we're here tomorrow. I know that in terms of the city planner working through my stuff, it'd be nice to knock these things off. Again, I don't believe, my personal opinion, I don't believe that we were at a stage where it really was at a point where we're making that many changes. I mean, we're changing that landscaping or the park system in the middle of the street, but aside from that, it's just clean up the rest of the document. It's roadway section cleanup for the most part. So that's why we move forward with it. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just indicating how we've come to this point. Except for that one roadway switch where we're trying to get completed so we can finish the roadway, there's no urgency that I'm aware of. Again, the applicant may think different.
Warren, I really admire the task-minded, your task-minded, how you want to get these things done. When I go down to the office hours or I talk to people on the preserve, they're extremely sensitive to any single change we make. I mean, just because of how things have happened down there over the past few years. And, I see Mr. Loy in the audience here and a couple other people, and I just, I think we should have a commitment to them, to just say, hey, here's what we're considering. Reach out to some of the HOAs and in particular our office hours. If we don't do that, I think that there's going to be some people that are pretty upset down there, because you hear from people continuously down there about that. About, hey, when you make changes, how come we don't find out? And when they watch tonight's meeting, say, okay, well maybe we should have reached out, or maybe we could have done that. If the answer tonight, Warren, isn't absolutely, hey, Councilmember Comstock, we can't, and here's why, ma'am. For me, I still think we should take it back and ask some people how they feel about it. And get the best design possible we can. Just my 2 cents right there,
We do have Mr. Loy in the audience. Pat, would you like to address the council?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. I'm Pat Loy with Chino Preserve, representing Chino Preserve Development Corp, the applicant for this. And what we've got in front of you is 2 different planning concepts. So back in 2008, we thought that having the central median, much like it would be like Euclid Avenue, and in the heart of the community, and we have those 2 iconic formative parks anchoring both ends. As we began to study it and look at it, we thought that really, other than being visual, those spaces weren't very park-friendly to people, of kids getting out in the middle of the median, and where do you park vehicles? And we thought that that land could be better used by taking it out of the median. Additionally, as we go north from Pine Avenue coming into the town center, that's a 2-lane angled street parking road, and we thought that by continuing that, it would continue the old town, downtown kind of a road concept. So that's what drove a lot of the thinking of having a 2-lane road, angled parking. Actually, when we with the new concept on the outsides of Main Street, we've actually strengthened the walking concept. We've got a wider walk, and we've dedicated more landscape space to it. So we think it's a much better, it's different than what we had before, but we think it's a much stronger and different plan that we have. When you go north of Pine, Main Street is proposed 2 lanes with angled parking going north, and it goes all the way up to the northern loop. And between the loop and Kimball Avenue, there is a median island there in Main Street. But otherwise, Main Street will end up being a 2-lane road with the angled parking. So the idea is that it evokes that old downtown kind of a feel for Main Street. One of the items that is important in moving forward is that block, we call it Block 9, which is the area with the blue or the if you could go back to that slide, Warren, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there again.
Yeah, there we go. The blue or turquoise piece, that's the school site. That's a 12-acre kindergarten through 8th grade school site. On the other plan, we had it running east and west, And in order to keep the school on track to get their site, we really do need to move forward. I mean, that's why, other than saying, wow, we go out to the community, we're happy to do that and talk with them. But that's one, and the park is now to the west of that. And then that block would be anchored with the community center, and then we plan to have the library on that as well. So that's one item that we're trying to move forward with the school district. We have a purchase and sale agreement with them. Our goal is, as we move forward on this, we would come back to Planning Commission hopefully next month with a master site approval for Block 9, and then come in with improvement plans. So that's one reason why moving forward. I think with the residents, this whole area, unless they've looked at a site plan to kind of determine what Main Street would look like, I'm not certain what feedback we would get, because we think it matches up with going when you go north of Pine Avenue, what Main Street exists. To the east of East Preserve Loop, that's Homecoming Apartments phases 1 through 4. So certainly we tell them when we have things that are changing, but at this point we didn't think that there were residents there south of Pine to really kind of go out and talk with and try to lay this out. So it is our application, but it is the city's specific plan. So we spent a lot of time with staff kind of walking through the concepts, and I don't know how many months we've spent. We might be on a year now of working on this plan, and I do appreciate all the staff, starting with Warren, certainly Dennis. I see Mike Hitz and Maria here in the audience, and Chris Magdosku that has spent hundreds of hours kind of looking at all of these sections, looking at a lot of cleanup. And again, there's no zoning, there's no increased density and so forth. So
You do, in looking at the comparison of the two, though, it looks like you have decreased the estate residential. Which I'm particularly protective of.
Yeah, before, yeah.
I'm sorry, the estate residential shows as 26 acres versus what the previous plan showed as 20 acres.
No, you also had another 10 acres or whatever it is to the left of the little park, and that's now gone.
Got it.
So it was 10 or whatever that number is plus 20, which was 30. Now you've got 26.
Absolutely correct, Mayor. I missed that.
Yeah, that was potentially a third school site that was in the plan adjacent to a park. And so now we've just got the park site that.
So let me put you in a particularly uncomfortable position. Estate residential is supposed to be large lot.
That's correct.
Okay, half acre, so that people can have animals if they choose, maybe even horses. Are you going to make that 12-acre park part equestrian?
Well, the current proposal, the concept park, we've been talking with city staff about that. It doesn't have horse facilities.
Okay. You know where I'm going with that. Putting you on the spot, huh?
Yes.
We'll talk.
Okay.
The only thing I'd add to the discussion is just that essentially the specific plan is supposed to kind of identify this conceptually. We're not changing obviously we want the school that needs to be corrected based on the old plan, because that's not the way it's oriented. Same
I
with the
think that's a
park.
great idea.
And I think, even our community facilities, which includes a library and a community center, they're all in the same proximity. It's just we're kind of moving them within that block. I think had we removed some of those amenities, I think certainly the folks down in the preserve would have some concerns. But what we're doing is we're trying to refine this, and we're planning it and getting it closer to construction, but all the amenities are within that location.
I think some of the changes are excellent. I do think we've made a mistake in not reaching out to people, because we have had input from many of the residents down there that they feel disenfranchised, that we don't care what they think. And we may not get any input on this at all. They may have said, fine, we don't live near that, as long as you keep it where we can walk and bike and, we need our shopping and stuff, they may be okay. I just think as a courtesy, we really need to be outreaching to people.
And then my only other question would be, if we approve this proposed master plan, are we losing out the 4 acres of estate residential? Because then ultimately, we're downsizing 8 potential half-acre lots.
You're also downsizing some of the, what they call low-density residential too, it looks like. It's hard to read some of these numbers. What? You're whispering. Anyway, those are our comments.
So that's my question. So if we approve this proposed master plan, do we lose the 8 potential half-acre lots in approving this?
Yes, we would move the park would go in that location. It would go away from the estate residential, but as Pat pointed out, that would have also gone away if there was a school there. So we had a potential either way that could possibly be removed. At this point, if the school doesn't go there, then yes, you're correct. Estate residential would be lowered, right, Pat?
Well, in this plan, and it's still underneath the park, it's zoned estate residential. So we
Down lower than that?
right below it, that is all estate residential land. So
What we can't
we
see.
would.
Down below the blue
maybe
line, you mean?
I didn't make myself clear. The area that we're showing as a park, that is zoned estate residential.
Okay.
So we have a plan for that whole block and that area that we would have to come in to get approval of a map and a subsequent master plan for the development of that. So in that case, you could say if you want the park to be smaller and the estate residential to be more, you would have that ability. I mean, these are conceptual locations of the park, and they ultimately, you would have the ability to weigh in on that.
Well, the estate residential is a very, very sought-after, prized type of housing that many of our residents are looking for, hungry for, snatch up as soon as it's for sale. So I would say don't decrease it, because we need to offer options to people. Personal comment.
We just moved the slide so everybody can see the entire area. It was hard to see. It was cut off on the other slide, so.
Okay. Well,
I think Councilman Pocock has a comment, Mayor.
Walt?
I was going to offer a compromise where we could approve the sidewalk up by In and Out and let them go forward on that. That way we wouldn't hold that project up. And then we could carry the plans down to Preserve for 30 days and let them look at it. And then bring that back and go from there.
You know, the only thing about that is if it truly is going to hold up the school, that would be my only issue with bringing it back. You know, because I don't want to hold up the school any more than it's already been. But if it's just something that's going to be held up for 30 days, I don't mind waiting. But it's just, you know, I know that they're hungry for a school. That's my only.
Can we approve what Pat called block, I think you said block 9, which is the school and the park? And the part that affects In and Out, and then take the 30 days back to the Preserve to let them have comments or at least see it?
But I don't think the school
part of
has finalized their purchase agreement with Lewis on that. So would the 30 days
No, they have.
be that significant at this point?
Yeah, until the decision really on the Main Street configuration is made, that holds up Block 9 because we can't really do the street plan.
Yeah.
We do have a purchase and sale agreement with the district.
Okay.
And we are, we have that timetable, so.
Yes, Madam Mayor, he's absolutely right. So the final design's contingent on Main Street getting changed to clear Block 9. The other thing Nick just pointed out to me, he just mentioned in my ear, is that he let me know that moving forward with the school to purchase this property is contingent on Lewis redesigning this block so they can provide the area for the school district to purchase. And from my understanding, Pat, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the school district is in the process with you guys of finalizing the purchase subject to getting the design completed. But you can.
Yes, we have a purchase and sale agreement. They have the plans completed. They're taking the plans to the state to go through the architectural approval. We have the obligation to get the site prepared and all the infrastructure surrounding it by a date certain. So and tentatively, we had planned it by June of next year so that we could complete the sale and then have them theoretically start the school in the fall of '22 to deliver in fall of '24. I think that's
Well, I know
what
the
they-
school down there is absolutely critical, and we don't want to do anything to impact the final decision that the second school is going to go in down there. I would say that at this point, I don't want to say it this way, but we've lost the opportunity, it looks like, for public input. But I would strongly recommend from this point on that we absolutely request citizen input on any other changes we do from this point on. But I think the school is so critical that it has been so controversial, and Karen, you know this better than anybody, to get that school done. I don't think we want to impact that at all.
One thing I would add is, I mean, we can go ahead and approve it. You can always come back and amend it. I mean, we could still do the outreach, and if somebody, you know, has a specific concern about a certain area, we certainly can bring that back to the council. So I think we can approve it and also do the outreach, and if we do have any concerns, there's nothing that prevents us from coming back and amending it.
So if somebody from the public during the outreach, or Mr. Hayes, or who said he couldn't be here tonight, or Mr. Barr, who said he couldn't be here tonight, Matt wants to come in and comment on it, then we can address any of their concerns in the future?
I'm talking, there's two issues here. This is the land use component, and it sounds like this is what, because of the way it was designed, particularly the Main Street, I think we want to go out and reach the public. I don't think there's a disagreement as it relates to the bike paths. So, I mean, I'd go ahead and move this forward, and if we get significant, we'll do the outreach, and if we get significant concerns about the way this was configured or the way the Main Street was, or we get a large group that says, hey, I'm concerned about, you know, removing or moving the bikes to the streets, then we can always go back and amend it. You're not wedded to this, and this goes into perpetuity. But I do think that there's, as far as getting that second school moving forward, there's been a lot of time spent on that specific block. And you can even see it because if you go to there's one slide that provides that detail. I'm saying that we can go out and do community outreach and we can make amendments. I don't want to forego that step.
I think that's a good compromise. And I didn't hear anybody here on the council drastically disagreeing with the bike changes. I mean, it makes sense to me. We'll always have some kind of disagreement on stuff. You can never get everybody to agree, but if the council's comfortable with this, knowing that we can come back with modifications if we get public input, this can be taken to our next office hours.
Absolutely.
And also published to the people down in the preserve. I think they have neighborhood apps and that sort of thing that I encourage. Let's get that done so that we can get input from them possibly at the next office hours or sooner. And so if council doesn't object to that, then I would ask for a motion and a second to approve this plan, understanding that it will come back for, that it can come back if we get public input that disagrees with this. But it allows the school site to move forward and clears the in and out issue on the streets. Is there any objection to that?
If I may, just a point of order, the public hearing is still open, so.
Yes, I'm going to ask Mr. Loy if he has any other comments or anybody from the public.
Perfect, thank you.
Pat, do you have any comments?
Thank you for your consideration tonight. I'm here with if any other questions come up, so we appreciate your help.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else in the members, oh my goodness, in the audience that would have a comment on this? Yes, ma'am. Please come up to the lectern. Yes. State your name for the record.
I just have one question.
State your name, please.
Oh, Sonia Shaw.
Okay.
In that right side, I couldn't see in the other map, maybe it was still there. Did this plan that they have now add more homes to them being able to build? No? It stays the same, because right there in the previous map, we couldn't see that the upper right, lower thing right there. So the houses stay the same, it's not allowing them to build more homes?
No.
Yeah, the density, to our understanding, so it cannot, is not changed.
Correct.
Cannot and will not be changed.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else in the audience have comments? Yes. State your name, Kevin.
Hello, Mayor and council members. I'm Kevin Cisneros, and I just wanted to make a comment that if it is an option to perhaps consider adding a condition to your approval that would allow us to not allow any loss of the low-density lots, as you had mentioned a little while ago. If maybe you'd consider that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I would love to support that, but I don't think that's appropriate with this plan. But there will be subsequent conversations, guaranteed. Okay, anyone else in the audience have comments? Any other comments from council members? Okay, then I will,
If I may, just
yes, Chris?
I had a quick response to that issue.
Yes, Fred.
If you like. The way the specific areas are established is what really designates the density. So it would require changing that particular land use designation in just response to Mr. Cisneros' comment.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
Yeah, with our community outreach, all I would ask is that we do more than just the office hours. I mean, because from the times that I've went, unless Chino PD is cooking up hot dogs, there's not a huge turnout. So if you guys can go beyond that, and I guess when you guys bring those comments back, let us know what kind of outreach you guys did. That's all.
That's a good comment. Maybe we should hear from the chief. We should have hot dogs at every office hours. That was the biggest turnout we ever had, right? Okay, any other comments from council members? Okay, seeing none, then we will close the public hearing. And I would entertain a motion in a second, please. Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Flores and second from Councilman Pocock. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Before the City Council is ordinance number 2021-015, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Chino, California, amending the Preserve-Specific Plan, PSP, to add and correct some document language, update various roadway sections, reconfigure Main Street south of Market Street, update and clarify certain development standards, and clean up of various exhibits. And that's being read by title only and waiving further reading. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and the item did pass unanimously. Next on the agenda under new business, item number 14, purchase order, handheld and vehicle radios for the Chino Police Department. Appropriate funds and approve a purchase order to Motorola Solutions, Chicago, Illinois, in the amount of $338,788.68 for the purchase of handheld and vehicle radios for the Chino Police Department. I'll ask for a staff report from our Public Works Services Manager, Mr. Dave McAbee.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Currently, the city contracts with the County of San Bernardino for access to the 800 megahertz radio system utilized by the Chino Police Department. This system allows communication between officers, dispatch, and neighboring agencies by handheld and vehicle-mounted radios. The county is responsible for the maintenance, repair, and programming. However, the city owns the radios and is responsible for their replacement. The average radio is 15 years old and will soon become obsolete. Staff plans to replace approximately 60 to 65 radios per year over a 5-year period. Specifications were prepared, and on September 16th, 2021, a request for quote was released and published on Planet Bids, which included both the handheld and vehicle radio replacement projects. On October 5th, 2021, the city received 2 quotes, one from L3 Harris Technologies and one from Motorola Solutions. The quote submitted by L3 Harris was for radio equipment that did not meet the minimum specifications of the RFQ and is not compatible with the city's existing 800 megahertz radio system. Motorola Solutions provided the lowest responsive quote, meeting the specifications of the RFQ. Therefore, staff recommends that City Council approve the following: reject the quote from L3 Harris Technologies, appropriate $11,706.44 from the unappropriated reserves of the Equipment Management Fund, and approve a purchase order to Motorola Solutions in the amount of $338,788.68. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on this item? Seeing none, council comments or questions?
Just a question. Oh, go ahead, Walt.
Thank you. Does that 338,000 for all 5 years or just for the first year?
That is for this purchase that we're here tonight.
First year.
First of
year.
5 years.
Right. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Chris?
And when was the last time we replaced these radios?
We have never replaced the radios to this scale, which is why we have radios that are 15, some even 20 years old.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, then I would entertain a motion and a second, please. Motion from Councilman Flores, second from Councilwoman Comstock. Please vote. Item passes unanimously. Item number 15, award of construction contract for project number SN 211, FY 21-22. Alley sanitation rehabilitation phase 2. Appropriate funds, approve a budget transfer, and award a construction contract to Gentry Brothers Incorporated, Irwindale, California, in the amount of $1,423,393.75 for project number SN 211 Alley/Sanitation Rehab Phase 2. Ask for a staff report from our CIP Engineering Manager, Maria Frazier.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, and audience. The item for your consideration tonight is the contract award of SN 211 Phase 2, which is an alley improvement project. As part of the 5-year capital improvement program, staff evaluates alleys and based on the available budget, selects which ones can be rehabilitated within that budget. The goal is to rehabilitate all the alleys within the next few years. Project SN 211, as you see in the map, shows the alleys that will be part of SN 11 Phase 2. SN 211 was composed of 3 phases. Phase 1 and 3 designs were completed ahead of Phase 2, and they are currently under construction. Phase 1 consists of the rehabilitation of the alleys between 9th and 10th Street, between Chino and B Street. And Phase 3 consists of the rehabilitation of the Yorba and Park Street. They were both anticipated to be completed by December. However, Phase 1 has faced some issues in the field, which has been delayed now and will probably be completed by January. Phase 3, which is the Park Street, Yorba Avenue, is completed pending some striping of the fire lane. Phase 2 includes several alleys, which are shown here in the map in red. The map also shows the other phases that are being completed as part of this project. Repairs for Phase 2 would include the same as the other 2 alleys. It would include paving, rehab, driveway approaches, accessible ramps, curb and gutters, and sidewalks, and also will address some drainage issues. To recap, with this map, just wanted to show the status of our alley rehabilitation program and how we've been addressing alleys little by little. The outlines in yellow basically signify the ones that we have completed already. One that is not shown in this slide, which is south of Chino, is another alley that we have completed. It's just out of the picture. But it is our goal to, once we get all these alleys completed, that this whole block will be pretty much rehabilitated. So currently, we have two projects that are under design, which is SN 221, which is the one in blue, dark blue, and the G6220, which is also in the pink line underneath. They're in the design, and we hope to get them into construction by the spring of next year. On October 6th, an invitation for bids was published on Planet Bids in the local public newspaper for this project. On November 16th, 2021, the city received 9 bids, a summary of which is included in your staff report. Gentry Brothers, Inc. of Irwindale, California, was deemed the lowest and most responsible bidder with a base bid in the amount of $1,423,393.75. This project is expected to be completed around the end of May of next year. So staff therefore recommends to approve all the items outlined in your recommendation on the staff report. This concludes my report, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Maria. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on item number 15? Seeing none. Council comments, questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I do just have a comment. I'm really glad that we're starting to put some work into those alleys there, and particularly in that area. It's been long overdue. Those alleys are in bad shape. And I appreciate you guys making the effort and bringing that to us, because I know when I walked that district, everybody talked about how bad their alleys were. So I appreciate you guys putting this on the calendar and getting moving on it. I just want to thank you for that.
I was going to mention that this was one of the items you brought up during your campaign, that you were really concerned about the alleys. So, we have council members that are very involved in the community and care, which helps to support staff in their efforts. So thank you. Any other comments, questions of staff? Walt? No?
To Mayor Pro Tem's point, I completely agree with what he's saying, and I just look forward to the alleys that will be rehabilitated on the west side of Central, and but we look forward to that. Yeah, so good job.
Those will come out next. So as we go through, our goal is to really do this whole area. We just kind of concentrated on that block.
Music to my ears. Thank you.
We'll be moving forward.
Have to do a little at a time. It's all very expensive. That's true. Okay, with that, yes. Well, did you have something? No. Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion and a second then. Motion from Councilman Flores, second from Mayor Pro Tem Lucio. Please vote. And the item does pass unanimously. Next on the agenda is mayor and council reports. And I forgot my written notes, so I have to go find my calendar. See, on Wednesday, November 17th, I attended the mayor's prayer breakfast, and then virtually attended the appropriate pool confidential session. On the 18th, virtually attended the Water Facilities Authority Board of Directors and the Water Master Advisory Commission. In the afternoon, I attended the CDA, Chino DeSalter Authority Finance Committee. And then that evening, I attended the League of California Inland Empire Committee that was held at the Doubletree. And the now incoming Mayor Ray Marquez was elected president of the Inland Empire California League of Cities. So congratulations to him. Let's see, on Monday the 22nd, I virtually attended a regional elected facilities committee meeting, and then met with our water attorney, Mr. Gutierrez, and staff members regarding some concerns with Water Master. On, Monday the 29th, Councilman Flores and I met here at the council chamber, up in the council office, to talk about issues of mutual concern. On Tuesday, the 30th, I attended the West Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District meeting and Christmas party. That evening, I attended the Warehouse Moratorium Workshop. December 1st, Wednesday, which was Mark Lucio's birthday. Happy birthday again.
Thank you.
I attended the Omnitrans and the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority Board of Directors meetings. On the 2nd, Thursday the 2nd, I attended the Chino DeSalter Authority Board of Directors meeting. And then tonight, we had our Christmas tree lighting ceremony, which was really a lot of fun. So I think I've caught everything. So I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Stay safe. Don't drink and drive. Take care of each other. Be sure to take CPR classes. You saw how important it is that we work cooperatively with our fire department. So we want to see you all. I won't be at the next council meeting, unfortunately, so Mayor Pro Tem Lucio will handle that meeting. And I need you to give him a really bad time. Ask him a lot of questions because he's nervous. But I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Stay safe. And I personally will see you next year. With that, Mayor Pro Tem Lucio, you have item number 16, which is a community support contribution request.
Yes. I would like to get the approval and the support from the council to approve in the amount of $500 to the Chino Cub Scout Pack 205. They're planning on doing their annual dinner, and they said that they're having a little bit of fundraising issues. So I thought it'd be good for me to go ahead and help them out to ensure that they do have a good dinner and that those kids are able to celebrate the way they should. So I ask for your support in that. And then I also ask for a $500 community support donation to the Chino High Sports Boosters Club, in particular to the wrestling program. They have a coach there by the name of Alex Angulo. He's doing some great things over there, and I look forward to the things that he's going to accomplish there because he's a motivated man. He's what we like to refer to as parents, coaches. He's what they call fun size. So what that means is he's small enough that he could roll around with the kids and push them, get a better workout in there. So he's a good coach. He's coached my son with some private lessons at our home. So I know that he's definitely going to be somebody that's going to bring that program up. So I would like to give them $500 in order to make sure that they are able to attend some tournaments that I would like them to be able to go to and be able to start being competitive and hopefully bring something here, some sort of maybe some state champions or, let's start off with some CIF champions and maybe some masters, and then we'll see what we do as far as state. But I look forward to what he's going to do there, and I ask for your support on that.
Okay, then we need a motion and a second. Councilman Flores made the motion. Councilperson Comstock made the second. Item passes unanimously. I have a question. Do you call that, Coach, fun size to his face?
We do to some of them, yes.
Oh. Okay, rest of your report?
Yes, okay. And the reason we say that is because they're a little shorter
It's little.
and they can roll around with the kids and, they're not some big, huge guy that's going to outweigh them by a lot. In mine, on November 29th, I attended a meeting with the city manager. On November 30th, I attended the workshop for the moratorium resolutions that we ended up bringing back during one of the workshops. On December 2nd, I attended the Met Holiday Luncheon at the Mission Inn. Met is a organization that advocates for mobile home parks to ensure that they have a voice and that they also rally to get certain programs in place. Like one of the programs that they rallied for was the one where they implemented the gas lines that went into some of the mobile home parks. And I think we celebrated the millionth foot over in what was that, the Lamplighter Mobile Home Park. So that's some of the things that they do, and they had a great speaker there. So that was one of the things that I went to go listen to. It was an individual that ended up serving like 25 years in prison, but he was wrongfully put in prison. I guess he was an athlete. He played baseball. He was traveling up to West Virginia with his baseball team, and they ended up, I guess, taking DNA samples from all the baseball players, and then they ended up, unfortunately, the person that did the testing for this DNA, I guess, had about 140 cases where he wasn't telling the truth. And ultimately, this individual ended up doing 25 years in prison. They ended up trying the person that took the DNA for all the cases that he misrepresented. And on the day that they were going to potentially come back with a verdict on him, 9/11 happened, so then they declared a mistrial. When they went back to try him again, he had already passed away. So then the state decided, hey, well, he's gone, so why proceed with this case? But unfortunately, it left this individual and other individuals in prison still.
Oh.
But what ended up happening is he just talked about his story. He ended up going and writing letters to the judge and letters to a federal judge. The federal judge listened to it. They went ahead and heard his case. They dismissed it. And now he ultimately ended up marrying a federal judge, by the last name of Abrams, Stacey Abrams' sister, who's now just declared that she's going to run for the governor in Georgia. But so he ended up marrying her sister. So it was just it was a good story, but obviously sad also. But at the end, he was just talking about how blessed he was just to come out of all that and where he's at now from where he was at one time. So it was a good, interesting story. And then on the second, I also attended Supervisor Kurt Hagman's open house in Chino Hills. He had a great turnout, and he announced that he recently got married. So, yeah, Thanksgiving apparently. And so on December 6th, I also had another meeting with the city manager. On December 6th, we also had an Infrastructure Streets Committee meeting. I think the meeting went very, very well. There's some plans to do some road work up just north of Riverside Drive, and the plans look really, really good. And I think that's something that definitely needs to happen up there in that neighborhood. And it's going to be welcome because there's a lot of walking that occurs by people there in that area because they're coming from the high school. So I look forward to seeing those plans come here for the city council's approval. And then also on December 7th, obviously earlier today, we attended the annual tree lighting ceremony. If you guys saw my boys, they're out of control. They were running everywhere, so I had to send them home a little early. But it was just great to see the community starting to come back. So hopefully they don't try to shut us down again. But it was definitely nice to see everybody back out here, and I'm hoping that as the year goes on, we start seeing more and more people showing up. And that's all my comments.
Okay, Councilmember Constant.
And I won't wish everybody a Merry Christmas yet because we'll see you on the 21st.
Because you'll be running the meeting.
Yes.
Karen.
Thank you, Mayor. On November 18th, I attended the Chino Valley Unified School District Board meeting at the district office. Not much has changed there. They're still going through a lot of struggles behind just everything from mass to some of the state mandates that they're trying to decide as a community how to best implement. They just,
It's hard.
yeah, keep them in your prayers. They've got some challenges ahead of them. So on November 22nd, I attended the Community Services Commission meeting here in the council chambers, which is always a great meeting. Dr. Wright's staff does a great job, and to hear the commissioners and just the staff talk about all the programming we're doing throughout the city and going back live to a lot of our different programming has been certainly welcome. On November 24th, I attended officers' hours here at City Hall. On November 30th, I attended a special meeting here at the chambers to discuss the workshop on the moratorium and that resolution. Then on December 1st, I attended office hours here at City Hall and my one-on-one with the city manager. On December 2nd, I wasn't able to attend Supervisor Hagman's open house because, as I previously mentioned, I was the auctioneer for the annual Sir Optimus Ornament Auction, which is always a barrel of monkeys. If you want a good time, make sure you attend that next year.
Barrel of monkeys.
Yes, we do. It's a real grassroots outreach, and we raise some money that night for our local service club. So congratulations to Sir Optimus for a successful night. And on December 6th, I attended the infrastructure committee meeting here with the city manager, the mayor pro tem, and staff here at City Hall. And I agree with the mayor pro tem's earlier comments. We've got some advancement of some projects I think we're going to construct also a little differently for the community, and I think they'll accomplish a lot for us as far as accessibility and beautification to certain parts of the community, and some different design concepts I'm interested to see that will help serve us better as a city in the future. Tonight, like everybody else, the tree lighting ceremony, which was nice to see more people out and about. I also want to give a special thanks to the fire department and the Chino Police Department for escorting Santa, and of course to our staff. I mean, without our staff, none of this would be possible. I probably don't say it often enough from every project, even though we had a lengthy discussion tonight. I'm very, very grateful for all staff's work, not just tonight, but all year long. You guys work hard, and we certainly appreciate it up here. I did receive, Matt, a request from Mr. Seth Halverson down in the preserve about trucks and the violations rolling through there, so some of our tractor trailers. So I was just going to put in a word tonight if between you and our staff and our PD staff, we can keep a lookout for some of those tractor trailers that are starting to roll through the preserve again, at least according to him earlier today. And then I knew Mr. Crawford, Mayor. I met him several times. I enjoyed watching his Chino Valley Perspective videos, so thank you for adjourning the meeting in his honor, and my sympathy to the entire Crawford family for their loss. And I will not be able to wish everybody a Merry Christmas yet either, Mayor, because I will be here on the 21st while you're out enjoying your time with your family. So enjoy your time
Thank
off,
you.
and see you guys in 2 weeks.
And be sure to give Mayor Pro Tem Lucio a bad time on the 21st.
I'll ask the city manager for staff to load up the agenda and not just the consent agenda. So.
Poor Mark. Councilmember Flores, you have item number 17, which is also a community support contribution.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Now, I ask the council to support and approve community support fund contributions to Chino American Youth Soccer Association, Chino Boxing Club, Chino Neighborhood House, the Love Them All Foundation, Isaiah's Rock, and You Choose.
Okay, I would entertain a motion in a second. Motion from Councilmember Comstock, second from Mayor Pro Tem Lucio, and the item passes unanimously. Rest of your report, please.
Yes. Let's see, from last council meeting on the 17th of November, I attended the mayor's prayer breakfast. On the 18th, I attended it was called the State and Local Officials Webinar on Artificial Intelligence, Uses and Regulation by Local Government. This was a particularly, I guess, a webinar of interest to me. One of the key things they talked about is how artificial intelligence can change our transportation and infrastructure, how we look at transportation and infrastructure. They talked about artificial intelligence and policing as well, but it wasn't as favored just because of just all the legalities that come behind it. But it was just really, really interesting talking about self-driving cars. And, a conversation we had a couple weeks ago was about the 71 and, where the 71 and the 91 meet, and the ideas of possibly connecting the 241 to the 71. But, when you hear these presentations on AI, it's just like, man, AI seems like the answer to all this, but of course that's something for the long run. That same day, I attended the soccer championships at Ayala Park. Growing up, I never really played the game of soccer, so as I've gotten older, I've appreciated the game more, so I went out and checked out a few games down there, and just after that day was a part of the reason why I said, I wanted to distribute some of these community funds to our soccer organization. Let's see. On the 22nd of November, I attended along with Councilwoman Karen Comstock, attended the Community Services Commission meeting. On the 29th of November, I attended a meeting with Mayor Eunice here at City Hall. On the 30th, I attended the workshop, the moratorium workshop, like everyone else. That same day, I messaged Mark Lucille, and I wished him a happy birthday, and I realized that was a day too early, but he did say, hey, at least you're the first one to message me, so. let's see, earlier today, along with the rest of the council, we attended the tree lighting ceremony. That was a great turnout. And that's it. I want to close out by saying one thing. I don't want to forget Pearl Harbor Day. And I just want to thank the greatest generation for their patriotism and service for generations that followed them. And with that, that concludes my report, Mayor Eunice.
Thank you, Chris. Walt?
On the 30th, I attended Civic Center Master Plan update, and that was pretty well attended, and it was very interesting. On the 3rd, I attended the senior Christmas party, which I fit right in there, so I enjoyed that with the mayor and council person, Community Service Commission, Brenda Strong there.
What's her name?
We ate cookies and had a good time. On the 4th, I volunteered at the Reindeer Romp with city manager and his wife, Linda, Chief Simmons, and that was a very well-attended 5K that they had, and they had about 600 runners, I understand, and it was very well-attended, and it was good to see everybody out. Everybody was happy to be out and to be able to mingle and get their exercise in. And at 8 o'clock, I exercised right out to my car.
Oh.
And on the 6th, attended a planning commission meeting. And then tonight, the Christmas tree lighting, which again was great to see everybody out mingling and kids having a great time. And a good job to the staff that put up did the tree and the lighting out there. It's very nice. That's it.
Okay. City Manager Ballantyne.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Want to provide an update on Kimball Avenue. It looks like we underestimated the amount of time that it was going to take to complete that project, so it will bleed into January. I want to apologize to those down in the preserve that have had to live through this experience, but we'd like to get that thing completed, and I don't want to keep coming back to that location. We have a meeting tomorrow with all the parties that are involved, and certainly we want to outline the schedule, and I'll bring it back, but we're going to start outreach, but I wanted to give everybody a heads up now. I didn't want to wait till the end of December to make that announcement. So again, I apologize to those in the preserve and to the council for not delivering this by December, but our hope is to have that wrapped up in January. But we'll do the outreach and we'll report back on that. And that concludes my reports.
Well, sometimes there are unforeseen problems, but at least we're transparent, let people know. Do the best job we can. City Attorney Galante.
No report. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Chief Simmons.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. First, I want to thank our fire partners for that incredible presentation today. Having lost my father 8 years ago to sudden cardiac arrest, I'm grateful for the work that they're doing, and hopefully we can prevent more of that from happening. As you see, I'm clean shaven this month, but No Shave November was very successful. Between us and our law enforcement partners in San Bernardino County, we raised $18,000 for Loma Linda Cancer Research. So very grateful for that. Speaking of truck traffic, our additional traffic officer focusing on commercial enforcement, which the council approved earlier this year, went into place last week. So we now have two officers out there who are focusing on commercial enforcement, 80 hours a week. And I think that's going to really impact that issue for us. Tomorrow between 5 and 7 is the community's last opportunity to help us stuff our sleigh. So we're going to have the sleigh out in front of the police department, asking the community to bring out toys, and we're going to give those toys directly to You Choose, and we'll be passing those toys out on Saturday after the Christmas parade. So right here directly to our local community, and we're looking forward to that event as well. And of course, with the holidays comes an increase in theft. So I ask the community to remain diligent, make sure you're keeping an eye on your packages that are being delivered to your porch. Keep an eye on your neighbors' packages, bring those things inside. If you are out shopping at our shopping centers, don't leave anything of value in your vehicles. And if you do, cover that up so people don't see that. We'll have additional patrols out there trying to catch people taking advantage of our community in that aspect. That's all I have to report, unless you have any questions for me tonight.
Well, just one more point to people, and that is tell the ladies, do not leave your purses in your grocery carts when you're unloading your grocery cart.
Absolutely.
There are people on bicycles that rush by and grab the purse and ride off with them too. Mark?
The only question I have is, as you know, I don't know if everybody's aware of it, but LA County is having a rash of follow home robberies, people following them from either shopping centers or places where they may be eating. And they're obviously targeting people that appear to have or well endowed with money. Are we seeing any trend like that here in San Bernardino County where that's occurring in any of our shopping areas? And if so, I mean, can you give us some tips for the community as far as what they can do to avoid that?
Yeah, I know of at least one instance where it was actually a person was followed from Los Angeles to our community, and they had at a location in Los Angeles, they had seen them get a large sum of money. They follow them to our community and steal that money. We were grateful that we did get that suspect into custody. So it is occurring. It is occurring here in our community, and just be aware of your surroundings. When you go somewhere, you're going to a bank, things like that, make sure that you're discreet about how you're handling that cash, because people will be either in a casino or a bank. They're watching, and they're watching to see what you do with that. And I can't tell you how many times we've had that where people go to a bank, get a large sum of cash, put it in the center console of their vehicle, walk into the store, come out, their window smashed, and the cash is gone. So they're out there, and you think you're being sneaky by hiding it in your center console. No, they saw you. So be careful with that. In our current society, you really don't need a lot of cash. There's other methods to manage things. But if you do use cash, make sure you're protecting it.
You know, I have a question for you too, because there are times when people are driving and maybe they think they're being followed home. And so if they don't stop and keep going, can they drive up to the police department? Because I know you have cameras there, right?
Absolutely. And we will get calls periodically from people who believe they are being followed. That's exactly what we do. Direct them to the police department where we get our units to get there and hopefully intercept anybody who's doing that. But our police department has cameras outside. We ask people to use that if you're doing offer-up or things where you're exchanging or selling property. You can do it in the parking lot. And obviously nothing's guaranteed, but you would be a pretty bold criminal to try and take advantage of somebody in front of a police department with our camera system there.
Okay, thank you very much, Wells.
One other thing, Wes, I just want to tell your guys, whoever came across the stop with, I believe it was a stolen vehicle and a rifle in the car. I appreciate the hard work that they're doing, and that was a great stop.
Thank you very much. I'll pass that on.
Okay, thank you. And I see Chief Williams isn't here, but we have Nathan.
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council and staff. I just want to remind you all that our personnel continue to staff 2 ambulances 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as you saw earlier from the demonstration this evening, our community members are greatly benefiting from having our own ambulances with our own personnel providing patient care from the time we arrive on scene to the time we deliver the patient to the hospital. And so the continuity of care and the personal investment our personnel have with our community members is invaluable and priceless. Case in point, during the month of November, our ambulances responded to 831 incidents in the district and transported 359 patients to the hospital. Since we started this program since July 3rd, our ambulances have responded to 3,584 medical emergencies and transported 1,526 patients to the hospital. So an overwhelming number of patients that are in need of that service. And so as always, we value the support and relationships we have with the council and our community members. So with that, that's the end of the report. Any questions?
Thank you very much, and thank you so much for having the demonstration tonight. You know, both my parents died of massive heart attacks, and I can't help but think if someone had been near them when that happened, maybe they wouldn't pass. Of course, having both parents die of it, I'm very aware of, taking care of my heart. So, yeah, it's, what you guys are doing is just absolutely phenomenal.
Yep, we couldn't be more proud, and again, it's a partnership with the community, to have a 50% survival rate and double the national average, that's astounding, so,
Well, I just hope I never have to call you.
yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan.
Have a good evening.
And Nathan, I wish we would have saw in the demonstration, but I believe the thing that they put on the body is able to do the compressions while being transported, and that's one of the things that also saves them. It makes sure that obviously the paramedic can be strapped in and be seatbelted because they're responding code 3, but it makes sure that the compressions stay consistent and the same depth. And I wish that they would have at least talked about that a little bit, but
Sure.
I've seen the actual demonstration when you guys had it at the fire district. It was a great tool, and I'm glad that we have it here in our community.
Absolutely, it's all about leveraging technology and new innovations that are out there, and, we're fortunate not every fire department around us has that tool and a piece of equipment and resource, and all of our units have them, so we're grateful for that as well. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Well, and last comments, we will be going into closed session. And again, we will be adjourning in memory of Don Crawford. He was a great guy, really a fantastic person, and he's really going to be missed. We have a very blessed community. We're so fortunate. And tonight was a demonstration of that with, our Christmas tree lighting ceremony, all the people coming out. We have a very unusual community in that people really care, they really participate, and we have a phenomenal staff, phenomenal police department and fire department that all work together well. Our community is different than other communities around us, and I think we all should be very thankful for that, very thankful. So we have the parade coming up Saturday, and I'm expecting it to be phenomenally successful also. It's supposed to rain Thursday, which that's a good thing. We need the rain, and it can wash all of our streets down, and everything will be fresh and pretty, but it better not rain Saturday, because Bob will not take that 56 Nomad out in the rain. It's not allowed to get wet, so it cannot rain Saturday. So we'll see you all Saturday. And with that, we are going to go into closed session. I'll ask our Attorney Galante to read the items we will be discussing.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, and those in attendance. The City Council will recess into closed session at this time to discuss all of the items listed on the closed session agenda, beginning with item 1, conference with legal counsel. The first case being Robert Siget versus City of Chino. Second case that was added just at the beginning of the council meeting is Edward C. Acosta v. City of Chino. And item number 2, conference with labor negotiators concerning the following employee organizations: Chino Police Officers Association, Chino Police Management Association, Chino Police Professional Employees Association, American Federal of State, County, and Municipal Employees, San Bernardino Public Employees Association, Teamsters Local Union number 1932, Professional Technical Clerical, Chino City Hall Confidential Employee Association, and Executive and Unrepresented Employees. That concludes the announcement of the closed session items.
Okay, we will be recessing to closed session. And our attorney will announce closed session.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The City Council met in closed session and discussed all items listed on the closed session agenda, beginning with item 1A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation of Robert Siget versus City of Chino. Following a discussion, the City Council, by motion of Mayor Pro Tem Lucio, seconded by Council Member Comstock, and carried unanimously 5-0. The City Council agreed to settle this matter in its entirety for $45,000 in exchange for a full release and dismissal of the case with prejudice. The City Council also held a discussion on item 1B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Edward Acosta versus City of Chino. City Council held a discussion and provided direction to the attorney representing the city, being Sarah Martochia, of the Atkinson Law Firm, and no further reportable action on that.
Excuse me, I think it needs to be read into the record that
Yes.
Karen Comstock did not participate.
Thank you. For the record, as previously announced, going into closed session, Councilmember Comstock abstained and did not participate on that discussion of item 1B, Edward Acosta v. City of Chino. Thank you, Mayor. And finally, item number 2, conference with labor negotiators concerning the various employee organizations previously announced. City Council held a discussion, provided direction, and no further reportable action was taken. That concludes the report out of closed session.
Okay, with that, we will adjourn once again in Don Crawford's memory. Our next regular meeting will be held on December 21st at 7 o'clock with closed session at 6 o'clock if necessary. We are adjourned.